And welcome to another great episode of Tampa Fishing Outfitters Fishing Report. Myself, Captain Yaeckel in the studios. To my, I guess it would be to my right, maybe I was left, but we got the man, numero uno, Captain Jason Prieto in the house. We want to know where the winners are.
The winners?
What everybody wants to know.
The winners.
Is where the winners are.
The winners are right here, son. Winners in life. We're winners in life.
Oh, my gosh. Well, anyways, guys, we appreciate you joining in for another week of Fish Talk right here at Tampa Fishing Outfitters. We hope that you guys have been out doing some fishing, enjoying the beautiful windy weather. My phone's going nuts over here. But Capt Rick ended up actually on a trip for...
Let's see if he's going to watch. Because, I watch you guys when I miss. I feel guilty. I bet you Rick won't even watch.
Rick doesn't even know how to watch.
No.
I'm sure Rick wants to watch, but...
oh, he plays that card, son. You put something like Sanford and Son Garage up there live.
Yeah, the Sanford and Group.
Oh, yeah.
He's on that thing, dude.
Yeah.
Moderator.
You put Outlaws. you put Outlaws on here?
Ruskin Outlaws.
Ruskin Outlaws, son. He's all over that.
I hear you, man. I hear you. But well, anyway, guys, like I said, we got you for an hour, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Tampa Bay. We're also going to talk a little bit about some new partnerships that we've kind of nailing all the details, but some really cool stuff that's coming up going forward with the show that I think you guys will enjoy. For those of you that didn't go to the Florida Guides Association meeting on Sunday,
oh,
sorry.
Yeah, okay. You're throwing me for a loop there. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Stay with me. Get warm. But anyway, so
slow,
any of
but
guys
I'll catch up. All right, running after the bus here.
That weren't at the Florida Guides Association meeting on Sunday, there was a lot of good stuff that got talked about, and through that conversation, we sort of made some partnerships with the show. One of them would be CCA, and the second one is the Snook and Games Foundation. And Jason, Rick, and I are all three excited to work with these groups.
I do want to give a shout out. Cause I always somebody that busts up. So when you do something good, I'll give you some credit. Travis kind of pulled me aside at a meeting and had the idea, and I was kind of thinking of it, but you had mentioned it, and that's a good idea. So you kind of got the whole ball rolling. So kudos to. I think it's a good deal. Now go what you're saying. I just wanted to.
So there's a couple different things, and we won't go into great detail about it, but we'll start talking about some fishing. But so basically, Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report is in the works of partnering with CCA and the Snook Game Fish Foundation. CCA Star Tournament is a big deal. A lot of people participate in it. They were saying, I think the numbers in Texas was like 40,000 anglers participate in the CCA Star Tournament. And it's a really unique way to get involved, not only in your particular area that you fish, but support a great cause, which is the CCA. And it's several different divisions to win some real cool prizes. The one that struck my interest was the trash. They have a trash division where if you, as long as you're, we'll be all over that one. Dude, with as many balloons as I pick up in Tampa Bay on a daily basis, we'd be in the running. Yeah. But anyways,
you and your balloon post. I never even got to bust you up for that one,
dude. That is one thing that drives me bananas, man. Like balloons,
so
balloons.
Your post though, I was like, seriously, you should have like disincluded me in that.
I didn't include you in it.
But I was able to see it.
What's your problem?
Hidden me from
hey, stay off me. Stay my cheese, dog.
Certain things you should probably hide me from.
But anyway, guys, so they've got several different divisions. We talked about it last year, did some updates throughout the tournament. But what we're going to be able to do is we're going to bring you kind of what's going on at the Star Tournament. We're going to be getting some updates from the CCA. They're telling us what's going on in their organization, going on across the state, stuff that they're working on. So it'll be good information, not only for our show, but to share listeners from the CCA's perspective. The second portion of this is Snook and Game Fish Foundation, which I think is going to be a better, not necessarily better, but a different partnership. And through the meeting they had on Sunday where Brett's talking about iAngler app and sort of how the state uses their data to get stock assessments, which ultimately results in we get our limits and, size limits and bag limits.
Well, let's be clear,
seasons and stuff like that.
They use it as a part. They don't use that as the data. But they use that is a part of a bunch of different databases that they come up with a conclusion or whatever they're going to come up with. So
it's definitely not a single source.
We don't want to say that.
It's not a single source, but from the way that Brett explained it at the meeting, it's a substantial portion, or it's a big part of they look at to make these stock assessments, to make estimates on where we're at with our fishery, not only in Tampa but all across the state. And so it's going to be a really cool partnership. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about what they do, learn a little bit more about what we can do to help them. But also something really exciting is we're going to do trivia. So we're working now, but they're basically going to give us some trivia questions for you guys to kind of join in with us. And I'm going to be information that you're not able to look up. It's going to be information that they have, statistics, certain things that they figured out and little nuances that I think are interesting. And I think that we'll both engage show and really kind of throw some information at you guys that you might not be able to pick up anywhere else.
Somebody said our sounds put around. Sorry.
The sound keeps skipping.
Might be our voices because we're tired.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
don't know, man.
Is that any better, John?
Hopefully it'll pick back up.
Can you hear me now?
This is Travis's department. You have a lot of department in this operation here.
Yeah.
I like to help, but I don't know, man. I can just give you some information on the
Ricky
air.
Bobby.
Yeah. My hands just keep going up. I don't know.
Well, anyway, sounds like we got act. But so, guys, I wanted to clear air with that. So we will have trivia starting probably next week or so, provided by Snook and Game Fish Foundation. Hopefully, that's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that.
It is, and it's going to be on us, not you, not Rick, not me, us to follow up and get these guys. And the only bad thing about the whole thing is it's hitting us at a real bad time.
It is.
We're pushed just making it in here to do the show just because of charters. But that's okay. We're gonna man up and put our big pants on and get on. But I'm excited. That was a great idea you had, and you put a lot of effort in following up with these guys and getting it done. So yeah. It's going to be great, man.
It'll be cool.
Their database, I was kind of like, I don't want to put my stuff in there. I'll tell you something I found really interesting for charter captains, for fishermen. People use that as so you can go on there, you can log your catch. Not just fish that you kept, but just what you caught for the day and the areas you caught them. The FWC does not share your information with anybody else. Not FWC, Snook and Game Foundation does not share that information. Everybody's always protecting their spots and what they caught. All they want to know is the area that the fish were
County.
caught. And the
They
county.
break it down by county.
County and how many fish caught, because that is good data to help figure out what to do with our species to help us in the long run. Now, here's the good part of you. Now, let's just say that somebody's going to say in the back of their head, and I'll say it out loud, and then nobody wants to really say, what's in it for me? Well, here's what's in it for you besides giving good data to help our fishery. You use this as a logbook.
Right.
Now, I don't keep a log like I used to because we fish every day, and it's like embedded in my head. But I knew the same way as I used to. I got logs from 2000, or I used to I had magazines and stuff like that. You can use this database as your logbook.
Right.
And it's going to be way more accurate.
Client calls or your buddy says, "Hey man, let's plan a fishing trip." Look at the last couple of years, or whatever data you got in there. You can kind of figure out where you might be wanting to go fish. Sort of break that time down of finding some fish. But more importantly, it does help. The information is useful. Not for the sake or the purpose of somebody going and finding fish, but for the sake of our state, at the end of the state understanding what's going on that we're seeing on a daily basis. And you hear it all the time. This guy complains about limits and there's no trout. This guy complains about reds and sook and everything else. And the one thing that I find sort of sometimes common denominator is nobody's doing anything about it other than writing a Facebook post.
Let me post this and take this for what it is. I don't want to make anybody mad, but in my 14 years of guiding, I've never seen the FWC or any other agency go on Facebook and take your complaint and start working on how to make it better.
Right.
Maybe it makes you feel better for the day, but it really doesn't do anything. If you really want to do something, and this is only captains, get involved in some kind of agency, whether it's the FGA, the CCA, the PBA, the BBC, I don't care which it is. If they're doing something good, get involed and help them out. That's how you go. I don't even know. I just made it up. But
the ED, the LYC,
whatever the agency. I mean, that's what's going to help. It just, that to me, I see people put stuff on Facebook, and they got a point, but I've never seen anybody
make an initiative to do something.
Hey, Travis, you just complained about redfish on your Facebook page. Let me take that into consideration and go make a change.
Right.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Maybe you feel better for the day and you can pound your chest, whatever you want to do, but it doesn't do anything. So what I would like to see people take stuff and start doing something with it. Show up at some of these meetings. Show up at, the FGA meeting. Was it a bad time of the year? I would like to see that room full. I get it. Everybody's busy. Guess what I had to do, and Travis? Run a trip.
I've been in the Flies Association for 6 years. I've been to 6 meetings. That's an annual meeting.
Yeah. No, you're there. You were there, and I'd like to see people get involved. And you know what? You say, and I'm not going to push the Florida Guides on anybody. You want to say, well, I don't believe in the Florida Guides Association. Well, I really don't know why you wouldn't believe in it. That's my personal opinion. But, okay, so go to the CCA or go somewhere and help out, because they all need help. And if you're the person complaining on Facebook or social media, what are you doing to help? Mm-hmm. You're really not anything but letting everybody know opinion, which is okay. But I guess my point being is I just like to see more people, especially if you're in the industry, if you're making a living in the industry. Right. My biggest goal is to make a living. Since I've started guiding, do the right thing is reasonable. Do the right thing, make a living, and make a difference. Like, when people remember me, I want to remember me for something I did good to help somebody, not because I caught a big hook yesterday. I mean, of course, that's part of it. You always want to do good for your clients, and we did good at the IFA this weekend. That's great. For me, that made me feel good. I did well, but in 15 years, in 2 years, does anybody remember that? Not really. I mean, they were this week because it was news. You know what I'm saying? So I guess my point.
You shared it 9,700 times?
No, 400. But and thank you everyone for mentioning something on here and congratulating me. But that's my point being is I like to see, especially some of the newer guys, get involved in
It is, and
let's get something done, because I think a lot of us are in the same agreement.
Listen, when you see clubs, and these pages that are out there, and they've got 10,000, 5,000, 30,000 people on these forums and these groups, it blows my mind that the number of people that are actually involved with securing what everybody else enjoys. And the Florida Guide Association, CCA, Snooking Fish, these are groups that are behind the scenes doing stuff so that you can have clubs, so that you can go out and enjoy a day of water. You can take a fish or two home, and there's fish out there to catch. Because without people involved in advocating for certain areas and certain rules and regulations, it's not going to be there. I'll tell you a story. I watched a local fishing guide come in an area where I've been catching trout and completely decimate the area where I was fishing. He went and ran 2 charters, came back after 2 charters, came back personally and got a limited fish on his own.
The problem is that particular guy just doesn't care.
I get it, but that's only one example. This kind of stuff is happening all across the board. And with the number of guides and the number of recreational anglers that are showing up on the water, where there's going to be issues with pressure, there's going to be issues with fish. It's gonna take place. At some point, the area that we all fish may not be able to sustain the amount of people that want to fish it. And so getting involved and making the right decisions about our fishery and what's going on, a big portion of what we do for a living, what everybody's moving to the area to enjoy. And so it's all great and it's all cool to learn about it and how to do it and catch fish and everything, but if you really want to get involved and really want to keep fishing for a long time, these are the type of things you need to support. And there's no doubt about it.
The other thing is you'll learn a lot about the fishery, not about fishing.
Yep.
Like it'll make you a better fisherman, because once you learn the habits and the pattern of fish, you're gonna understand. Like I went to the Snook Symposium. I talked about this on Blue in the Face, but I'm gonna say it again. I went to that Snook Symposium for 8 hours. I learned more about snook in that 8 hours than I've probably learned in a long time. And it made me better understand what them fish do when the weather changes, when it's a seasonal deal. So it's gonna help you be a better fisherman, and you're gonna be giving back. I mean, you can't just take all the time. You gotta give back a little bit.
And I agree, man. I mean, I'm not necessarily just talking about killing fish or, overcatch and all. It's a combination of a lot of different things. And the reason why I'm saying get involved is because everybody sees something a little bit different. And if you don't have a voice for the area that you're fishing or what's going on in that area, whether it's bad water, whether it's, fish dying, whether it's too much pressure, whether it's people running the shorelines and advocating for pole and zones, all those different things, everybody sits around and complains about it, but not a lot of people actually get involved to try to fix the issue or try to make a difference. And this is sort of a topic, an ongoing topic every year. It's been a long time. But I talked to another captain up in the Newport Richey area, and it was like apple for apples, man. Exactly what we're talking about, exactly what we're seeing, and the idea that if it continues, what the forecast is, And so we're at a pivotal point, I think, with the way the industry's going, the number of new guides, the number of homes being built and people being on the water, boat sales. The industry itself is making a difference on our fisheries, not just Tampa Bay. I'm talking about Charlotte Harbor. I'm talking about north of Tampa Bay. The west coast of Florida is what I'm familiar with. But I'm sure there's same things happen on the East Coast and down in the lower, part of the state. These are the types of things that you can get involved with, and there's several of them. So the organizations we're talking about, Jeff, in particular, are the Florida Guides Association, which you do not have to be a guide to be involved with, okay? They have separate memberships. If you just want to get involved, support the cause of what the FGA does. The second is the CCA, which is easy to find. And then the other one is a Snook and Game Foundation, which is more of a science-type organization. They collect data and do things that help benefit the state to make stock assessments. And the Angler app, which several of the captains, if you watch or since you've probably used or downloaded, a lot of the corporate events, the big corporate events that we're using are using the iAngler app. But they have two different types of they have a tournament type app, and they have more of a personal iAngler app. And the iAngler app, I believe it's the blue one. There's a blue and an orange app.
Yeah.
And one is one and one is the other. And off the top of my head, I don't remember which one's which. But the personal one, the blue one, is more so what we're talking about. Anybody can download it. Anybody can use it. It doubles as a fish log. But it also gives collective data to the Snook and Game Fish Foundation that in turn helps with the state and how they make our rules and regulations. So it's kind of a big deal. If you're already using it, thanks. If you're not, check it out. I'm not saying you got to do it, but check it out. I think you might want to give it a try.
You know, the other thing too is as we sit here and talk, we put a little bit of pressure on our listeners and people that are tuning in. You know, I'd like to see companies that majorly benefit from our industry
Sure.
get a little more
Get
involved. I'll throw this out. Everybody knows I run a Pathfinder. Pathfinder's big CC. They've done a lot. They give a boat away, and I'm proud to say that. But I would like to see some other big companies step up a little bit. I think they don't want to get involved, but I'm like, well, if you don't get involved, the industry goes away. What are you going to be selling?
Yeah. I tell you another one, guys, that we failed to mention on this, but there's another one it's sort of a grassroots organization. And it's called Captains for Clean Water, and they're more focused down south. More so from the big sugar and water quality issues down south, but they've really turned into a powerhouse, and a lot of great guys that are truly passionate about fishery in Florida and other places have joined that group to make some moves, not only to fight, what's going on in their area, but sort of have a voice in other areas as well. And so, if you're interested in that too, that's another one. That's Captains for Clean Water. And I noticed something the other day, and I don't know who posted it, but they've got the gift challenge about to go down. Have you heard about that?
Is that where they're running the boats through the Gulf of Mexico?
So they have skiff challenge. It's going to start, I believe, in Panhandle, like Pensacola.
That's nuts.
And they got a race down the state.
I seen something on Facebook and like swells.
The tip of Florida, and then back up. I believe it ends in Georgia. So that's a haul. And, companies like Hell's Bay, I think Chinham Gifts, maybe Maverick Pathfinder has a little. I'm not sure all the companies that are involved with it. But a lot of that money is going to raise money to advocate for different things throughout our fishery to help support it. So all those things do make a difference. From a personal investment standpoint, monetarily, it's not that much money. Like buying a fishing license, it's just part of it. It all goes to a good cause, I promise. So check it out. But guys, we're gonna take a little break here in a few minutes. But I did want to mention one thing from TFO here. We've got the bass tournament that Tampa Fishing Outfitters was holding ended, and first place went to Carlos Alonso. Second place, Kendrick Pico, and third place was Danny Vaughn, I believe is the name. And special thanks to Daiwa. They were the main sponsor. And grand prize goes to Danny Vaughn, and he gets a half-day fishing charter with bass guide Joe Ventrello. Sorry if I massacred your name, but we appreciate you supporting the bass tournament, Joe, and hopefully you can put him on some fish, buddy.
Well, I guess we'll take a little break. Got your little
we got a little break.
Up. Well, guys, we'll take a little break. We get back talking more fish, and we'll talk a little redfish and trout and snook and whatever else we'll talk about. This is Tampa Fishing Outfitters Fishing Report. We're right back.
All right, guys, welcome back. You're watching Tampa Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Captain Travis Yaeckel in the studios. The winner, the big man.
Oh, God, here we go.
15-7-7.
Hey, listen.
In the left corner.
Dude, you threw up some weights and you made me look
Prieto.
bad at the championship. So I had to.
No, man,
had
you
to
did
bring
good, man, and it was an interesting day, I think, for a lot of people. We fished a tournament down in Punta Gorda, and let me tell you what, man, I didn't get to fish. Kind of like you, show up. All right, guys, take me to them.
Drop mic, son.
Yeah, here comes the renegade, man. Show me where they're at, baby.
I'll get them.
I'll get
them.
And so we went down and we sort of got rode into fishing the Flats Masters. We won the first event last year, so
you threw some serious weight last year.
Yeah, we
you had what, 18?
17.3.
Yeah, I thought you had 18.
It was 17.3.
That's crazy.
Which was just stupid, really, for Florida. And so anyway, the guys that I fished with were like, "No, man, look, we got it. It's kind of we want to try it. We got to go for the back-to-back." And so we sort of opted to go down and fish the Flats Masters in lieu of the IFA, but we're going to make up for it. We're going to go out and fish a couple events in Louisiana to get us into the championship. So we're excited about that. So when you do
that, you can't qualify for Team of the Year, right?
I can't qualify for Team of the Year.
But you fished your 3 events.
2 events get you to the championship. Yeah. So we'll pick up Punta Gorda.
We're gonna roll for that. I need a good Gorda finish now, son.
Man,
if we can bring a strong finish,
those are gonna cost you some money, man. It's gonna cost.
We're
you
gonna
some
roll
money.
in there, son. Well, because we got West Team of the Year in 16,
right?
Which was a huge accomplishment. And I have to say, I like the IFA. I don't think they did enough. I don't think they put enough on Team of the Year. That is a hard deal to do. It's consistency.
Well, I tell you, it used to be this, but it used to be 3 tournaments, and before that it was 4 tournaments in a region.
Yeah, which
sort of opened it up, like in terms of how back-to-back or like a 3-day tournament.
That to be real
like a 3-day tournament. It sort of makes it it's a different style of fishing. You can't beat your fish on day 1. All those types of things. But no, I mean, with 2, you get 2 shots.
Yeah.
So with 4, kind of like, okay, everybody gets a shot to either do well or do bad.
Yeah.
So after 2 tournaments, you really can't call the Team of the Year yet.
Yeah.
So with 2, it sort of changes the dimension a little bit. But you guys are definitely shot.
Well, yeah, we're doing good right now.
I would say the odds. You have the best odds at this point.
It has nothing to do because. And actually, the year 1 Team of the Year, TJ had won one of the tournaments, but TJ's wife was pregnant. He didn't go to the championship.
Right.
We were sitting in 4th, did real good. We ended up taking 9th in the championship, which I thought we were actually better after day 1. So it fell, but we were like 4 points from overall Team of the Year, that's my goal. I want to be the Team of the Year out of all the divisions.
That was the year they canceled the Ruskin event.
No, that was last year.
That was last year.
That messed us up because we had a 20th finish in Boca Grande, which we're not strong there, especially in March. And we had started off the same way in 16. So man, we're gonna roll with this. And then the hurricane, we didn't get to fish our home waters.
Yeah,
that threw a serious curveball. Then you had to fish, and you had to just throw an event in there. That was all kind of weird.
We had the same situation. I think we were sitting 15.
Yeah, because you guys had a couple spots
on. And we never really had – it ended up being where the West Coast ended up being the ultimate tournament, the first event, and then the championship.
Yeah.
So it kind of got – but it's all good, man. At the end of the day, it's all good. I certainly don't say anything bad about the FA for the way they handle things. I think that is the one tournament series that does the best job at keeping everything the most legit they can.
Yeah. Saturday we won. Brian had to get. He had to get
I'm really irritated
detector.
they did not have to take a poly.
I've
taken 5 polygraph tests, man. That was funny.
They said one of you, Brian, you're it.
When you text me and told me your weight, said, game over. # game over. Good job. And I said, I think my next text was, get ready for the polygraph.
Well, I tell you, the only thing
those things are. It's just a.
Because I was kind of on edge, anyways. The only thing I would like done different is rolling there at 3:30.
Play the sandbag.
Well, yeah, because we weighed early because we had our fish at noon.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there and you're watching people come by with bags and you're looking in the bag and you're just They're put on there, and you just sitting there going, please don't, please don't. So like,
Listen,
stress
dude,
of just sitting there was like, oh my God.
When you drop 15 pounds in an artificial tournament, at that point you just wonder if you won. That's the only thing you wonder about.
Yeah, you're like, well, I dropped it this
and then when
easy.
you drop 15-7, you go back to the boat or you find a place that's got a beer, dude, and you start chilling.
Yeah,
and waiting. Because
I didn't.
At that point, it's in God's hands. I mean,
well, the thing was, we had such a good day, and I'm thinking, well, then you start thinking, well, is everybody else having this of a day? Because we dropped that weight, honestly, like
that's how it goes,
6
man.
times. Like we went on a big school. Something I want to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to need some GPS locations.
No, I want to talk about redfish because it's been a big topic, and I'll tell you how the fish we found was not a big school fish.
Right.
Sitting in a pothole, I seen a couple of rolls, and there was mullet. I think, and it was, I think Ryan Rickard had put something about keeping heads and this and that, and I didn't disagree with him. But and actually, you had mentioned to me, brought light to me, so I had put something on there. I said, well, what about the overs? Because you said that on the air, and I thought, what about the overs? They're not getting kept. I think I think our redfish are hurt, but I also think our redfish, there's too many boats and too much traffic for them to grow up. So I think sometimes as anglers you have to change with the fish, and I think that's very hard, especially for old timers to do. And what we won the IFA on was not a huge school of fish.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think you get smaller pods. I think fish are smart enough to say, hey, if we have these small groups and we do this and we do that, less chance of us getting ran over.
Well, and you get into that, you start getting into those 3-foot potholes, you know, where you get a little bit of depth on them. Those fish act a lot different.
Yeah, because they're comfortable.
They're a little more happy, you know, and with the amount of tower boats, and this is another conversation that we're not going to go to, but with the amount of pressure, the amount of boats that are being pushed over fish, especially before tournament, these fish will change their patterns, man, over years and years and years of doing this stuff. They're going to find a different way.
Well, think about this.
What you said, you fished a pothole or 2 potholes in the area, right, for the day. That's exactly how I won the IFA Pro-Am in 2015. There was several guys that wanted to go and fish the area that we were fishing, and we watched 2 or 3 different teams come into the area
fast.
During pre-fish. They fished the bushes.
Yeah.
They fished and there were some fish up there. Over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, 'cause this was a spot we fish a lot, we've noticed that those fish aren't quite as happy as the ones when you find them sitting off just a little bit. And so we knew those fish were going to move through this area. They weren't stage up. We didn't have 400 fish. We didn't whatever. But we had about 20 fish that we knew were living in this area. They were coming in and out, moving in and out. We would see them in shallow water. You'd see them swimming, but you didn't want to cast at them. You waited till it slid off and got happy in those potholes, and every time you'd sting them, you know. But it's part where I think they get chased around so much there
that they break up.
That as soon as they see a shadow or as soon as they see something or feel a vibration, they dart out.
Yeah.
When they're in that little happy zone, they're not quite as skittish, and you can sort of sit on them. So,
and honestly, there's always the exception. We get that big school fish that'll eat anything.
right.
But when you get that big school fish that won't eat anything, that will eat anything's great. When they won't, it's a real pain because you're just sitting there and sitting there.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'd almost rather just fish potholes. If you give me a choice, here's the problem with a big school of redfish. Because we found them the year we won Game of the Year. We kind of worked on a school of fish.
Oh, yeah.
And I found them, and I thought, nobody's on fish. So my stress for the next days is we went and figured out.
You pattern the fish and figure out.
Then I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty big school of fish. How many other people are going to run across this school of fish? Because they were pretty obvious.
And what did we say? I
told you, I said
they're drive right over them and never mess with them.
But my point being is, if you give me a choice to go fish 20 fish in a pothole that are good fish, or go 400 fish, I think I'm going to take 20 fish as long as I know where they are and I can get them. Because there's a lot less chance to find them fish, especially on the tournament. And to me, I just do better. I don't know. I don't need to see them. I just need to catch them.
It only takes two. If it's the right two, it only takes 2. And
but and going to this conversation, I'm going to throw a exact situation because Rob Gordo put some stuff out there, and Robert is a heck of a red fisherman. He's been doing this 20-something years. But
we're going to get to y'all's questions here in a second.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I want to wrap up with this, but when you go in this, when you got 9 good boats and then some regular guys on a school of fish in September and Pete, and every boat, there's like 500 fish there, but every boat has worn like 50 apiece out. Like, at what point do you think the fish are going to go back to their school and go, man, we got to do something? I'm catching fish that have already been caught because their mouths are red, and so I don't know. I think our slot fish are getting hammered a little bit by a guide and people catching them, but I also think that I think you got some pretty big somewhere on these wrecks that we hadn't figured out that are humping up to the top all the time. They're sitting on them.
These fish are we've definitely seen a decrease in the amount of fish that we're seeing in our areas that we fish. The big question is why, and nobody's going to be able to answer the question. It's like this Yaeckel app, the data, the information. That's the best resource at this time. Stuff like it's going to be the best way for us to really determine. Because
they're not going to share our information.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's not for
They're not call Travis or Jason and say, "Hey guys, these boys are on the not official Bahia Reef."
Right to me, baby. Right to my cell phone.
Yeah.
Travis app, download it. but anyway, so that's the way we're gonna have to try to figure this out. Is figure out a good assessment, a valuable assessment. There's so many guys in the water nowadays catching fish that it should be a no-brainer that somehow we got to get this information up to the people that make a difference. You can blast it on social media and 4,000 people like it. Not a single one of them are going to do anything about it. I promise you that.
Yeah, I mean, I wish
we got to figure out a gateway, and we're working on it. It's coming. There's going to be ways to get involved with this.
What I ask for people out there that do this show, and maybe next time you put something on Facebook, it's great. Maybe ask yourself, how can I actually do something to help this? And maybe whatever you come up with, maybe do it. Try it.
Or let us know. We'd be glad to help. Put something in motion.
So Mark's asking, what do you guys like for spray bars on your live wells? I'm a little confused. What, the sprayers?
All right, so on my live well, Mark, I've actually got bottom feed inlets. So I've got directional flow cap that my live well is actually two 1100s that feed the live well. And it comes up through a through-hole fitting, and there's a cap that goes over it. And a company named Keep Alive actually manufactures and sells them. They private label them for TH Marine, also make the same product. But check out keepalive.net or keepalive.com, and you can find those directional discharge fittings that go into your tank.
Or if you're ordering a Canyon Bay, tell them you want it the Prieto way.
The Prieto way. The Prieto way. Pretty Prieto way. Princess, the poppy cork Prieto way.
Since we switched brands, Pathfinder, I've went a different route. What he did is what I kind of actually came up with, and it's a system. Keep Alive makes a good system. However, Pathfinder runs. They've got just a 90-degree elbow, which I kind of like. You can unscrew them. It doesn't have a shutoff valve, and it just pumps water. The problem you have to run into with sprayers on a live well is you're reducing your volume going in there, the amount of water. So it's just like your water hose. Like when you put a nozzle on it, yes, it sprays harder, but you're cutting down the amount of water going through the well. I think the amount of water is more important than anything just about. Hey, you need to get a little bit of air and oxygen. So the only thing the sprayer is good for is getting a little air. I almost would say don't go with a sprayer and add a bubbler to your well, because that's what I've done. The other thing you want to do is like Travis was saying, depending on your well setup. So on my back well, Pathfinder is for a production boat. They really go with their live wells. They do a window, and they got a steam pipe in the window. Now, I had to do a little bit of tweaking to get that window to work, but that standpipe in the window's got little grates in it. So on the back well, they run a 1600.
So if you order a Pathfinder, do you tell them the Prieto,
no,
Prieto live,
yes.
Princess Prieto Pathfinder rig?
Yes. Tell them that. I don't know what to do for you, But theirs is actually pretty good, and Canyon Bay's is too, out of the box. I wanted to pump water from the bottom, and they typically put a sprayer in there.
Right.
So there's not a whole lot of difference. The other thing we did is add 2 drains. Well, on my back well, Finder has a top drain, and they've the pipe drain on the back well.
Mm-hmm.
They do on the bottom, they pump water, and they pump water at the top. So you get fresh water at both levels because you get the ammonia, basically the poop, all that stuff. So when you got a lot of bait in there, you want to get that clean water in the well, especially when you load it down at first. I've taken the 1600 pump because problems with the 1600, and I've knocked it down to 1100, and it seems to be fine. That 1600, you definitely need 2.5 inch drains. My new boat, this one I just got 1100. The other problem with the 1600 pump, if you do run a 1600, you cannot quick change it out. I'm using the rule tournaments, and you can literally pop that off in 2 seconds and pop into the pump if you pump up. With the 1600, you gotta. It's a mess. You can't do it while you got bait in the live well, put it that way. So what I did on my new one is I'm doing 2 1100s on separate intakes, same way, or separate outlets, same way that you got your Canyon Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got either 2,200 gallons if you want both pumps, or you really don't 2,200 gallons most of the time. 1,100 is plenty on a 50-gallon well. The only time I like to run both of them is when you load that thing down, you want to push that dirty, silly water out,
stuff like that out. Yeah.
So I would try maybe without a sprayer. Your pump too. A lot of problem I see with boat companies, they put a 500 gallon per hour pump in a 40-gallon well.
Mm-hmm.
That works good for shrimp and maybe under greenbacks, but if you're going to pack that thing like the West Coast fishing, up it to 1100.
Yeah, volume and how quickly you can turn over seems to be the key, and add a little bit of air. You'll dial it in.
Yeah, it's.
But guys, we're going to take a little break. We're going to pay a few more bills here, and when we get back, I'm gonna add into your question there, Mark, and then we're going to answer Dave's question. But hang tight, guys. Check this out, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Fishing Outfitters Live Fishing Report. Myself, Captain Travis Yaeckel, here for the last segment of the show. My man, Captain Jason Prieto. And before we left for a break there, talking about live wells, Mark asked a question about a sprayer and how you would set up a sprayer. Jason, brought some great light to the topic as far as a couple different ways to rig the pump and some ideas, particularly to a Pathfinder, but same principle throughout most of the live well systems. But the one thing we'll say about a sprayer, and I've had several boats with sprayers in them, and the one thing that it always was a kind of something you had to figure out on your boat and the size of your well is the water level. Where are you going to put water level for your sprayer? If you take the water level and you bring it above your sprayer, like if you have a drain tube that you set a stack that you can set anyhow you want, you want to make sure you got it set right for what you're trying to do. If you need more water, if it's not big enough, and you don't have enough volume, then you have to use your drain tube so that you're going to get a little more water above your sprayer. If your sprayer is pretty high, what I like to do is bring the water level just to the bottom of the sprayer or about an inch or so below it. And the other thing is I turn that sprayer nozzle, it's not just spraying straight down. If you get it to where that nozzle or the head of that sprayer is kind of turned sideways, pushing the water at an angle through your well, and you'll actually create some circulation,
right,
as opposed to just like filling up the bathtub with water. The second part of a sprayer in general is they're designed to be a sprayer. It's just like a water hose. You take a water hose and you take the off of it, and you dump it out, you get volume, but you got no pressure, and you've got no air induction, you're not doing anything to slow the water down and push it through something smaller, which in turn induces air, almost like a Venturi system. So at the nozzle, when you do tighten it up and you pressurize that water and it's forced through a smaller diameter hole, you're going to get more pressure, hence driving the water farther in the water, create some air bubbles, and you'll start to get a little bit better results than if you have just an open into a pipe pumping water in.
Yeah.
You know, that's my opinion with sprayers. Now, when you go to the bottom of the tank, and I've seen this where, you know, the sprayer, it's got a sprayer head on it, and the sprayer's like 6 inches off the bottom of the live well, and you've got 2 foot of water on top of it. It doesn't really matter to me.
Just get out and
you
get
can
volume.
just open it up and go volume at that point. The other thing you want to look at too is what size pump do you have. Some pumps can't support an open, you know, hose.
Yeah.
They'll actually, you know, get sort of airlocked, or they won't pump enough water out. And my Triton to do that. If you left the nozzle out and let's say idled around, it would lose its prime because you didn't have enough pressure in that hose, back pressure on that hose on pump, and sometimes you'd lose prime with it. So those are just a few things, and I don't want to go, you know, way crazy, but a couple of things that came to my mind as far as using a sprayer. I hope that helped out, Mark.
I tell you what, Mark, and I don't want to pump Pathfinder, but they do have some intuitive videos, more than most. Go on Pathfinder's website, look at their live well setup. You can kind of get an idea of what we're saying with flow, and whether you believe the theory or not, I think it does work. You can get an idea. You can see the window that I'm talking about, and obviously the window's got to be built into the live well, but you can see with the dye that they use, the circulation, and what you kind of need to mix somewhat to get a decent live well setup, and see if you can do that. Other option you have, too, if you don't like your sprayer, use the sprayer, add a second pump, and put something at the bottom. So you can pump water from the bottom and top. That's what I'm going to do on my new boat. So hope that answers the question. I got to give boy Viz some love, though. I ain't going to love.
The love, baby.
Let me tell you something. My partner.
The love.
And Dave will get your question right now. Brian just joined us. Workhorse right there, son. Just gets it done.
Takes, man. It takes a team, brother.
Let me tell you something. We sucked it up, but he left before the hurricane and was the first one when the levees were open in line to go fish in Louisiana last year.
Yeah, we were. Well, we weren't there yet. We came 2 days later, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's there before the hurricane and set it out there.
That's right.
Guy's a trooper, man. Tell you what,
borderline crazy.
Yeah.
Dedicated. Brian, we love
every
you,
tournament. Like he probably gets tired of me saying, "Oh, like wave, wave, wave" every 5 minutes because he just hammers it. But he did our only pre-fishing for the tournament. Drags the boat there, drives it back from Louisiana. The guy is, you know, when you want to talk about a good partner on fishing, you just say Brian Visnevec, and that's it. The guy is awesome. He's a great friend. Have fun fishing with him. It's like the perfect guy to fish a tournament with, and love it, man. Thank you. You don't go unnoticed there, brother.
Don't go unnoticed. You can't unnotice him.
He'll drink beer and go to Wing House and eat wings, the best of them.
David, we're going to get back to your question here, buddy. It says, best bait for snook at the end of May coming to St. Pete from non-snook fishing area. End of May.
Oh, boy, you're going to get some controversy here.
Oh, man.
I'll name yours and you name mine. Let's see how good we know each other's fishing.
Well, here's what's going to – well, are we looking for – I'm going to get technical. Are we looking for big snook, or are we just looking to go catch?
Don't matter. I can tell you I'm the same bait.
If
cut thread fins for me.
It depends. It depends. If I've got happy fish and I've got plenty of live bait.
You're so technical on it. Just give the guy an answer.
Favorite bait would be fish.
Oh, get out of here. Get some fin herring.
For a big snook, a live pinfish, especially in May, those fish are, the big females are prepping to get offshore and spawn. They're normally sitting on docks and bridges, and hand-sized pinfish are
I've caught more on ladyfish, and the most I've caught on big snook, and is thread fins. It's
all a technique, the way you fish too. Honestly, and everybody's got their own ways of fishing techniques, and it's just you see a guy and there's an area where there's fish, right? One guy will pull in and he'll power pull down here and fish over here, The other guy will power pull down and fish over here. The next guy comes in and he's in the bushes and fishes over here. They're all fish the same area, but they figure out a way that makes it work for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the way I look at snook fishing is there's several different ways to be successful.
It all works.
Be successful at it, and really what it boils down to is what you're comfortable with and the way you like to fish. If you're going to bait, depending on the time of year, you might be a guy that needs patience.
Yeah.
You know, if you're the guy that likes the action, the steady, you know, casting and seeing the strike, you're a live bait guy. You know, you're probably more pilchard, you know, greenback type of guy.
You honestly,
it just really depends on what you're doing. But the popular bait in our area, if you're traveling in, is going to be live greenbacks. That's what at least 80% of everybody fishing Tampa Bay would say.
Yeah. You know, as we're talking about change, the last 3 years, and my buddy Will Shook, he's charter captain. Me and him go way back, high school. He got me on the cut bait kick, and he's like, I've been catching on cuts. I ain't using no cut bait. I think it's I used to hate cut bait because you do catch stingrays and sharks and catfish, especially in the summer.
I was cut bait for a long time, especially red fishing, because when I first started, I did a lot of red fishing.
I didn't just never use a lot of cut bait, and I just started doing it. And
going for
what I have found is that
Rick,
I catch. He's missing out. He's missing out. I catch the numbers, more numbers than I ever thought I would on cut bait. And I tell you, my new found the glory has been sardines, and it was just by the sheer fact that all I had a couple days. And I had a double one time this spring. I've used cut bait earlier this year than I ever have because you use a live bait when the water's in 70 degrees. But I think with the amount of fishing guys in our area, pressure, you got to kind of change it up. Like it's just think about this, guys. Boy, like you walk in Golden Corral and you ate in 2 days, or you've been on a diet all week. That sounds good. But if you go to Golden Corral every single day for every meal, it don't sound so good anymore.
Here's the odd, I mean, not odd thing, but here's the common thing. We talked about this years ago, Jason, when we were doing a radio show, about how the first part of spring when these fish first start chewing and bait's pretty plentiful and, you know, just about everybody had a live well full of bait, you know, and you start pumping it on top of these fish, and of course everybody's going to chum.
First 2 weeks, it's going to.
The first 2 weeks they're jumping out, they're doing backflips out of the water. After a few weeks of it, it's kind of like, and we talk all the time, we'll notice that the amount of chumming does not affect the amount of fish you're going to catch unless you do some cut baiting or sing baiting. Over the last few weeks, we've been doing a lot of slow bait stuff. You know, like pulling to an area, not about a chum and throwing it out there first, but not a few baits, sort of seeing what the area's like, seeing what the activity's like, and then we adding some chum to it to see those fish are around if they're just not being responsive, you know, stuff like that. And so I think it's something that happens particularly with snook because they do inhabit the same area for a number of weeks. You know, that point or that shoreline. They just kind of, you know, shift up and down, in and out from the shoreline. They stay there. Well, that school of snook that you fished last week, when you pull up and throw a bat of chum over them, it's the same school of snook you threw a bat of chum over last week. Or the guy that pulled in an hour before you pulled in.
Yeah. It happens. I mean, it's very few times in our year guiding that I get to stay on a fish by myself. Just because there's so many people, and these, you know, I want to share information with you guys. If you're on a spot and I'm on a good one, I don't mind sharing a little bit. You know, like I know that you're going to help me out at times. Rick's going to help out. You know, Jason Thompson, and we'll help each other out. I also know that I'll say, Travis, don't go in there and beat these fish up too bad, and you won't.
We know,
but other people go in there. I mean, and what we mean by beat them up, guys, is like if you go into a spot and you catch 60 snook, you tell your buddy, and he catches 60 snook and 60 snook. Eventually, you're not going to 60 snook, but if you just kind of say, we'll catch, even though you know you can catch 60, and you go in there and you catch 20, and then another spot, and catch 10 there, and 15 there, or 10 here, you still had your 60 snook day, but you can go back to them spots in that same pattern, same motion the next day, and have the same results without the fish being sore or worn out.
I had that exact scenario take place. It was about a week and a half ago, and it was that morning that everybody peeled out, and I had some guys that had to go. We grinded out bait. And I said, look, guys, if we get bait and get backcountry, I said, I know where some fish are that I'm sure there's no fishing today. And the difference it made, that not you, but the amount of people that were on the water, not just guides, but just people in general. When you look at the boat ramp and there's like 2 cars there, I get all giddy. I'm like, oh, snap,
got this
son.
to myself today.
We caught 81 snook, and when I started out, I got in my truck, the water temperature was 46 degrees when I got out of the truck. We counted every single, and I don't do this, obviously, but we caught 81 snook that day. I could have probably sat in 1 or 2 spots and made that number pretty easily.
Yeah.
We probably fished, I'd say, between 7 and 8 spots, about 10 fish per spot, I'd say, and we just kind of bounced around. We didn't, like, go to Joe's Island and then back to, you know, but the same area.
Yeah.
But the point is that we didn't sit on that 1 knot or that 1 knot. We sort of caught a few of them, got them fired up, caught a handful to the next area, caught a handful to the next area. When we got done, Mike goes, man, he goes, we probably could have sat in the same spot and wore them out. I said, yeah, we could have. But tomorrow, I can't catch crap. You know?
And we kind of talked.
And you want to give the fish a break, man. You want them to, you know, sort of have some enjoyment out of being in that area. If not, you're going to run them off.
Yeah.
That's the whole point we're trying to make is you keep beating them up, they will move, period. Like, it's going to happen.
Well, and it's that time of year, too, that March is one of the best and the worst because a lot of people are out. But I knew where you got them fish. I didn't know the bite was hot that day. You told me. I went there. Unfortunately, the next day, we sat next to each other. But the area that we're in, people kind of go in there.
Yeah, and nobody knew those fish were there.
Yeah, and it got ruined pretty fast. Yeah. But, you know, that's just part of it. You got to, you know, I tell my customers every day, Gary, I got my guys from Rusty Bucket got them tomorrow, and we roll out, and he goes, I go, let's run south. And I ran south. I go, yeah, this wasn't a good call. He just laughed at me because I go by the seat of my pants, honestly, and I throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, see what sticks. Sometimes I got to call you guys. That's why I'm not eating that.
Get on some.
No, I'm not a hot eater, man. I need anything but hot.
Turkey jerky, mangrove mango.
But Dylan, thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man. It's real big part of my career. A little stepping stone for me was when I wanted to win an IFA. I've done good. I've never
certainly
never laid it in, and we pulled it in. By the way, thank you, Stoli Vodka. Been sponsoring us for years. Picked up water gear this year on the Florida Pro Circuit. Of course, Mercury, Pathfinder, Alpha Marine. Them guys keep me rolling. And trying to think who else. Loadmaster Trailers.
You should know these.
Mercury.
Come on, dude.
Rodan.
Hashtag pro staff.
Yeah, hey, these guys, they're good company, man. Halify's great. Halify, Eagles kids fish the tournaments, man. They brought like a 7 and something pounds.
Yeah, I talked to
cool
one of the guys that fish with AT, and I talked to him at the boat show, and he said they stuck a good one, but they couldn't up. But
yeah, no, it's cool. There's kids in the tournaments, man.
Young,
you know, that's the tournament nowadays. Kent's doing a great job. Florida Pro's really stepped it up, and that's a fun tournament to fish. Travis, good question. The snapper for me, and it might be a little different. I don't know about the. I usually get them out in the bay. I don't really catch too many in the mangroves. I'd say July.
Yeah.
June starts showing up July, August, and then September's kind of late.
I tell you, when the mangrove snapper fin is firing off, when you pull out in the morning, and you're out there catching bait, or you're in the middle of the bay, and you can't hardly sit up because it's so freaking hot, the mangrove snapper bite is on.
Or when the fry shows up.
Or when the fry bait shows up.
When the fry shows up, the fish are.
It just seems like, man, when it's hot.
I love snapper fishing.
I love snapper fishing too.
It was a little down last year from a lot of pressure. I had a couple go-to spots that got hammered, but
the amount of fish that I saw in the last, I'd say even the last 3 or 4 years, man, is
last
really
year was a little
cool.
down. I think a lot of pressure on some.
I had quite a few days where we got the ball up and you could actually see what you're fishing. You know.
Well, I owe you one. and I'm going to help you out. And you can say, you know what? You're the guy that gives back, but I got a potential snapper spot.
I like it.
And
we certainly can
but
use
hey,
it.
Jeff, my buddy Jeff that bought one of my boats, so he's got some numbers because me and him are friends. So some of the stuff I found over the years, and I had a chance to fish with Hook there fishing. He's a great fisherman, and one of them was my sheep's head numbers, and I found a spot, and he got a 17-pound gag, got broke off by bigger in the spot. I got 24 the other day. I went out and fished it, but it's a ledge, and
in the bay.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
it's close. So hook you up.
I need it.
But I'm thinking the ledge, it's like one of them snapper type ledges.
Right.
You see the rubble and it's good stuff.
We're good.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Travis, I would say I don't get a ton in the bushes. I fish a lot of the middle of the day, but July, August is snap months.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. It takes a lot of pressure to keep a fish off because
it does. It's just a totally different. It's a relief. It's a breath of fresh air.
It's fun
when we can kind of sort of change gears, start doing some bait.
Get tired of the flats.
For me, honestly, of course I grew up redfish, snook, trout, fishing Cockroach Bay and Apollo B and up towards the Kitchen. That's where I grew fishing. But when you're young, it seems like I don't know where
all you want to do.
But you want to go out. Because everybody said you're in a John boat. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we fished all this for so long. Well, I want to get out in the bay. So I remember finally getting a 16-foot boat coming from a John boat, and I was like, dude, we can go offshore. We can get out there.
Everything's so much bigger.
We can go in the bay, man.
Didn't Cockroach Bay seem like this big and you lost?
It was huge.
Like
dude.
now I'm like, it's impossible.
There was no
iPhone
to look up. We didn't have a GPS. You had to literally. There was no Snook Trail signs to tell you where to go.
It's so different.
But anyway, so fishing out in the bay to me actually kind of brings back some childhood stuff for me because we go out there and fish blacktip sharks. We go fish mackerel and kingfish, tarpon. Go out to the wrecks or the reefs and do the shed stuff or whatever. Just it was a shrimping type thing or a cut bait. It was go catch something big. We're going out in the bay.
Yeah.
So for me, I enjoy getting out there doing that stuff with my clients.
And when you can find a ledge that you
find,
if you find a ledge and you're successful in catching, whether it's snapper, grouper, man, that's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's fun to find a spot on flats, but you can see the flats.
When
you're in the bay, you're reading sonar pretty much.
Yeah.
Now,
Hash Simrad, dude, I'm on board.
The goats. Why I asked you before the show how you liking the goats.
I am.
We're Brian are talking about blowing our whole winnings on another boat. Smart move, not. But hey, whatever. And I was asking about the Go product because I think we're putting if we get this boat and do a 50 with a coffin box, and I'm going to use the Go 9 or Go 12 on it.
That's what I got on the skills of Go 9.
Anybody that's looking at that Go product, Travis's boat. I actually have the Evo 2 and Evo 3 going on my new boat. The only major difference for us or me and you is the Go does not network except for NEMA 2000. If you're looking at the Go product,
it doesn't have an Ethernet connectivity.
Yeah, so you can't read. You can read the number on bottom machine, but you can't read the picture. I guess the best way to put it, because it's a big question I had because I almost went with a Go on my new boat, but I can't network the units, and I'm putting one top in.
Yeah, and for a lot of those, to say network, some people get it confused. Like you can hook up, you can get gauges, you can get everything over that NEMA network. Whatever come through to that, like smart gauges.
You'd have to put two transducers on the boat for a read instead of with the Evo 3. You can put one transducer and they talk to each other off that one transducer.
That's correct. Ethernet is more high speed. NEMA 2000 is actually more of a serial communication in the way that it works. That's why you have the two terminating resistors. It's a bus. NEMA is some people may know. So NEMA is a common bus. It's talking on a bus, whereas Ethernet, it's a lot faster. It's duplex communication. It's a little bit different way that it works, and so you can't connect them to Ethernet. They only have another thing too is I went from Lorraine Products, so I'll fall right into Simrad. It's the same.
It's like an upper echelon.
Other than the
That's
equipment,
how I feel.
Other than the equipment itself, the software, the user interface, everything's the same. In fact, I had the structure scan, Lowrance structure scan on my Union Bay.
It
The
plugged right.
the big question to me was, okay, I have to now install the total scan transducer. And when I talked to Simrad, I said, well, will it work? And he goes, yeah, it'll work. He said, but you're going to get one. So on my boat, I've got the P91 or whatever it is.
P79.
P79.
You're running it all.
I got the in-hull P79, and then I have the structure scan mounted on the outside on the hull. And so I can only use one. It only has one hookup. Now I could hook the sonar up, the P79, or I could hook up my structure scan. For me, I use the structure scan more than anything, so that's what I have hooked up. And so I was able to literally change out my Lowrance, put a set in there, hook up my transducer, and go down the road. And with the exception of not having my sonar, single installation, no tower, single installation, it really wasn't a big deal. With the exception, I forgot the power cord. The power connector on the Simrad is different than the Lowrance. So I did have to run a new power cable down. But other than that, and the resolution, I think, is a little bit better than the Lowrance. My picture's a little bit more clean. And some of you guys may have been catching some bait, kind of playing around with it. But,
the unit looks it looks like a higher end unit than a Lowrance to me. It flush mount looks like a TV screen. I like Simrad way better. It's not that much more money, if any. They're real price comparable. I think Lowrance has always been like bass, saltwater, and then Simrad's been the offshore unit.
Well, yeah, and the way that it was sort of explained to me or marketed to me was the fact that, believe it or not, Lowrance was more fishing.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, the guy on a kayak, the guy on a bass boat, the guy on a big bay boat, whatever. It was more fishing related, a little more rugged looking, industrial looking. Simrad was more like yachts and, like you said, big offshore boats, radar, that whole type of thing. And so I think it's just different styles.
I think they figured out that a lot of people like the Simrad, so there are 4 more options now.
I think so, too, and I think that Go product really brings it down to a level where they're sort of apples to apples to some degree.
Yeah.
Either way you go, I don't think you'll go wrong with the Lowrance or Sim product. I've used both. Jason's used both. And as far as
I like Simrad better.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying, like, the reasons why we like it.
I like the screen better.
It's not a performance thing so much as it is, like, really just I think it's better.
A lot of it's visual appeal.
Right.
Not like the unit works better.
They run them transducers. They make the same sizes. Yeah. So it's kind of apples.
The other thing, too, with Simrad, a lot of it's a la carte. When you buy a Lowrance, for the most part, you get a package deal, usually ransom mount, transducer. Right. Simrad, you're just getting the unit. Now,
you can buy a package. That's how I bought mine.
Did it come with a package now?
The Go does, not the Evo.
Yeah, well, if you go with Evo, they're all a la carte. You gotta, which is okay by me because I'm doing a. And for everybody out there on the hauls, I was, until this year, educated myself. I was very naive on through hauls. I don't need it. I do inshore. I went to a B60 on the Pathfinder because it's a step haul. I love the transducer. I noticed the difference on my bottom machine on detailed. I was running B79, which is great, and in-haul. Transom mounts, guys, I don't like them. They work great. It's slow, but the problem is you have to have that transducer in the water. So if you have it in the water, it's quickly spraying water 15 foot in the air. It's creating drag. Or if you have it up, you don't get drag, you're not getting a reading when you're running. So my opinion is run an in-haul or a through-haul and just spend a little extra money. I don't like transom mount transducers. And plus, your holes in your transfer, if you get a different unit, holes never line up. You got to fill the holes. So I'm just a fan of getting a custom transducer to your boat anyways. So.
I like the way that they set mine up, and the way that yours set up in terms of inverting the structure scan in the pocket. I really like that.
I actually, when I built my boat, I was like, because I did mine on my 2010, I put mine in.
Yeah.
I look in, I was like, I don't want to put this thing off the transom. So I looked at it and I said, stuck it up there. I go, this thing fits like a glove.
Mm-hmm.
So when Rob built my 14, I stuck it in there and it worked out great.
I like the way that comes out. I did notice with the total scan transfer, because I may down the road go to that if I couple different options for when I put the tower in, but that the total scan's not quite the same.
It's bigger.
Well, the structure scan, the land structure scan, actually threw holes into that metal plate.
You got a bracket or something.
The total scan actually mounts into a bracket type deal.
You can still make it work.
You have to build a plate to mount that too.
Well, they sell one because
when
I went to the 3D on my Simrad, they sell a bracket.
Okay.
They sell a bracket to do that.
Okay.
If you go to do that, just do some research.
Okay.
Are we up on time?
We're up on time, man. We're blabbing, guys. But we do want to thank you guys for just for an hour. Jason and I just been sitting here having a conversation. I hope you got something out of it. If not, there's always for next week, guys. Like I said, with some cool stuff coming up. Don't forget, next week, same time, same place. And we're going to have trivia this week. It's going to be a hard one, so get ready, guys. Again, we appreciate it. Lines, and we will see you next week.